welcome back to Catch All Media. My name is Andrew. It's been a few months since I've made a video. I've been working about 65 hours a week, so it's been really tough to find the time and really carve out the time to put this above any of my other activities I have going on outside of work. Especially, when it comes down to making a video or watching a movie, I'm always going to watch a movie, of course, because that's what we are here for and that's what we talk about. So, to come back with a video today, I want to talk about The Killer, directed by John Woo, came out in 1989, starring Chow Yun-fat and Danny Lee, as you can see on the cover. This is the Nova Media release from South Korea. So since I've been gone, I haven't been making videos, but I've been watching a ton of Hong Kong cinema as well as Japanese cinema. So coming back to the channel, what I'm going to be focusing on is most likely those two genres, as well as some old 50s, 60s, 40s, and even 30s cinema from Hollywood to France to Italy to Germany. That's really where I'm going to be, with my bread and butter on this channel from now on. So with all that being said, let's not waste any time and let's get right into talking about why you should watch The Killer, directed by John Woo from 1989. Produced by Sue Hark and starring Chow Yun-fat, Danny Lee, Sally Ye, and Kenneth Sang. This is a tale of a hitman who is looking for his way out of this life. He's looking to turn his life around a little bit. And when he accidentally blinds a woman through one of his hits, he is totally ready to leave the whole life behind and slightly redeem himself. Now, the problem that comes into play is that Danny Lee is an inspector who's kind of on the fringe of his department. He's really good at what he does, but he's a little bit of a loose cannon, kind of the archetypical character for movies like this. So the whole plot of the movie is Chow Yun-fat attempting to escape this life that he's in, trying to hit one big last job so he can take his money and go with him and run off with this lady who he has now basically fallen in love with after accidentally wounding her. So that is the whole crux of the movie. That is where we start. I want to use this video to explain to you why you should watch it without giving too many spoilers. So now that we've laid the groundwork a little bit for the story of this movie, I want to talk about the superb action sequences. Now, when you're talking about a John Woo movie, everyone knows that that means that you're talking about heroic bloodshed, gun fu, beautiful action sequences that are almost hard to beat by anybody else's comparisons. I mean, these are some of the best action sequences that I've ever seen in a film, and I know they're highly regarded as some of the best action sequences that you'll find in any film, Hong Kong cinema or any other genre. Besides the action sequences, which are superb and is the draw for this movie, I think what really provides this movie as a rewatchable movie and will give you so many other times to come back and visit it is the relationship between Chow Yun-fat and Sally Ye, as well as the relationship between Chow Yun-fat and Danny Lee. Because we see this beautiful relationship blossoming between Chow Yun-fat and Sally Ye's character, but Sally Ye doesn't know that Chow Yun-fat is the man who blinded her. So we've got that dilemma kind of going through the film. You see Chow Yun-fat's very disturbed, very battling within himself to try to come to terms with what he's done with his life, as well as form his exit strategy and figure out how he's going to get out of this. So with that relationship set aside, then we look at Chow Yun-fat and Danny Lee. And these are two gentlemen who are very much of the same coin. I mean, Chow Yun-fat is an assassin, Danny Lee's an inspector. But Danny Lee realizes quickly through this film, and he doesn't present it, but you can tell in his character with the way that he acts that he realizes that he and Chow Yun-fat may be much more similar than he previously thought. And he realizes that he views Chow Yun-fat a little bit differently than most of the criminals that he chases. Now, he doesn't reveal this to Chow Yun-fat throughout the movie until the very end. And like I said, no spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything, but I just want to tell you as much as I can to reel you in without giving you these answers. So that relationship between Chow Yun-fat and Danny Lee throughout the movie is beautiful. They have tremendous chemistry on screen. It's this classic cat and mouse game, but because of the fact that it's not just a killer versus a cop, and they have this relationship that's blossoming, and they kind of are starting to understand each other and see that, hey, we're really not that different. That really is a driving force in this movie as well. The relationship between Chow Yun-fat and Sally Ye, like we talked about, is beautiful. It is a driving force in the movie, but I think that what brings you back is kind of this brother buddy cop bromance, I should say, that's kind of in a different light than we would usually see. This is not so much your, Ringo Lam cop versus bad guy kind of full alert relationship, which is also, they do kind of in that movie see each other, to be two birds of a feather. So this is similar to that, but even better. I think those two relationships are a huge part of this film and why it is very rewatchable. Along with all the action scenes and the two relationships that drive this movie, another thing I want to present is the atmospheric cinematography as well as the score. The score for this movie is absolutely beautiful. And if you guys are 90s rap fans at all, or if you've maybe just done some research on some of the influence of Hong Kong cinema on the rap world, Wu-Tang Clan is obviously very familiar with all of these Hong Kong movies, and especially Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links album, the intro for Incarcerated Scarfaces, which is one of the titular songs on his album. The intro is a clip from The Killer. It's the clip of Danny Lee when he is in the police station talking with his cop friends about how he feels about Chow Yun-Fat's The Killer character, and how, I think the direct quote is, he doesn't look like a killer. There's something determined in his nature. It's this crux of Danny Lee's character really starting to sink in and really starting to, it's his first step at understanding Chow Yun-Fat and accepting that he understands him, and him trying to come to terms with the fact that here's this assassin who is just wiping out all these bad guys, and Danny Lee can't get him, but at the same time, he doesn't hate him. He understands him to a certain level, and he's starting to come to terms with that. So that scene used from the police station is in the intro to Raekwon's Incarcerated Scarfaces. Definitely I'm a huge Wu-Tang fan. I'm a huge Raekwon Only Built for Cuban Links fan. So when I finally saw this movie and I knew what it was from, I popped pretty huge. So that's a fun little fact here. But let's go ahead and get into the final thoughts on this, and you guys can get away from this and go ahead and watch the film. My final thoughts on The Killer, directed by John Woo from 1989. I would say that this is a must-see for any action fan. Obviously, if you're a Hong Kong cinema fan, if you're just getting into it like I am still, I'm not an expert by any means, but if you're just getting into it, this is one to pick up 100%. You can find this on eBay. I found it on eBay for about $30 from Nova Media. They do have a website, which is Nova Media. I think it's like nmvmedia.com or something like that. Their shipping is extremely expensive. I think you can get like 2 regular of these kind of releases with the slipcases shipped for about $70, which is very expensive. But if you can track this down on eBay or something like that, I would definitely do that. I know there's a Dragon Dynasty release of this as well. So my final thoughts on this are, this is a beautiful movie that is a bromance, but also romance, as well as redemption story cloaked in a heroic bloodshed action movie with beautiful action set pieces, some great visuals with the cinematography. A lot of the filming in the church scenes in the beginning and towards the end really remind me of Bad Boys, so you can kind of see some of that Michael Bay influence. You can see the influence from John Woo on Michael Bay from that Bad Boys movie with some of those scenes. So I would say that this is definitely a must-have in your collection, whether you're an action fan, a Hong Kong cinema fan, you've never seen a Hong Kong movie. This is a beautiful place to start. So this was why you should watch The Killer, directed by John Woo. If you enjoyed this, guys, please do me a favor and tell me down below what you guys would also like to see me talk about, or if you have any questions about this movie or this release in particular, please just drop it down below and we can talk about it, because that's literally the whole reason that I do these videos, is just so I can talk with you guys about movies. So if you did enjoy it, please come back and see us. Leave a like, all that, whatever. If you liked it, go ahead and help me out, and if not, that's completely fine. Just come back and watch them so we can talk about these. So my name is Andrew. This has been Catch All Media, Why You Should Watch The Killer, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.